If you want to climb any rank from Iron up until Diamond, Qiyana is probably one of the worst champions to do that with. Here's the twist though, it's not for the reason you think it is. It's because every Qiyana main makes the same 5 mistakes that holds them back from climbing. In this video, you will find out what those 5 mistakes are and how you can fix them. If you apply what you see in this video, I can guarantee you will climb at least one full rank. Let's start with the first problem that most Qiyana mains have, and that is managing the first 3 waves related to your matchup. You have to prep your enemy for the right moment to all in, and then you go ahead and then you throw the punches. And that is basically meant with wave management. This means that you have to set up the wave in a proper way in order to actually be able to do something against the enemy. And I will show you some examples of how that is actually done. These examples are all from my Masters game, guys. I'm actually playing in High Masters. I have some Grandmaster opponents already. So I am actually playing against people that know how to lane, and this still works. So I'm 100% sure that this will work in your games too, because most of you guys will not be at this LP range that I'm currently playing in. Let's jump right into it. Alright guys, here we actually have the first example of the laning phase. I am laning against the Yasuo here. For most people, Yasuo is a pretty hard matchup. This is played in 276 LP Masters. And what you will see is how I'm actually setting up this wave. So as you can see, level 1, I am playing it super slow. And I'm really just trying to let this wave actually come into me. As Qiyana, it's really hard for you to touch the wave. One thing you can always do against Yasuo is taking a trade like this. This might seem like it's bad, but if you look at the potion situation, he actually only has 1 pot and I have 3. So taking a trade like this into Yas is best. It would even be better if I could use 1 more auto attack and proc electrocute. But this is actually totally fine, and you will see why in a moment. So right now I'm swapping the element to ice simply to reset my passive here. And as you can see, the wave is permanently on my side of the map, okay? It's permanently on my side. This way I cannot get ganked, and it's much easier for me to actually go for an engage. And now look what happens. Yas actually shoves in the wave. I'm just waiting here. I'm prepping the minions here properly. Now I'm actually getting his shield, and then I'm trying to grab grass and dodge his Q at the same time. I didn't grab grass, but that's actually fine. I can just swap the element whenever I get to it. And now we just wait. And now look what I do, guys. And this is very important, and this is something you should always be doing. Look how long I wait until I auto-tag the minions here. I wait until the last tower shot is almost at the minion, because that means the next tower shot will come off a lot slower. And then I wait last second again here, last second again here, last second again here, and the same thing here. So you always wait for the last second. And what happens is, as you can see, that if you do that, I will show this in a much slower way. As you can see, last second, last second, last second, last second. And now look what happens. Now this wave is closer to your side of the map. This means that all of these minions will target only 1 minion, while the enemy wave will target these minions equally. And that means that this minion will die quicker than your minions will die. And that means that you get level 3. Because at the second minion that you kill right here, you will get level 3. And Yasuo most likely won't have level 3 here. So as you can see, exactly what I'm saying is actually happening. 1 minion is getting targeted here. Do you see that? And my minions are still alive. Only because I managed the wave properly. And this is what I mean with managing the wave in a correct way. He actually does get a really good trade-off, so that's actually a bit annoying, and that's why I can't walk up and contest level 3 here, but the principle still stands, right? Now I actually get level 3, and as you can see, you just have to wait for the right moment to actually engage this Yas. So right now he ins at me, and since Yas is actually standing right here, it's really easy for Qiyana to use an auto attack EQ against him. There is nothing he can really do to dodge that, because the Q always follows, and even if he uses his E onto you, your Q still hits. So the max thing he could get off is a Q auto attack maybe, right? And I will get this off and I will proc my electrocute with it, because it's like 3 abilities that I'm using with my auto attack, my E and my Q. So auto attack EQ, and that's a favorable trade for me. Do you see that? Pretty easy. And I still have 2 pots, while he only has 1. So that's why that trade in the beginning was not really that bad. And I'm trying to poke him out with a Q a little bit and thin out the wave, because I don't want this wave to be too big under my tower. Now we grab grass. And what we are trying now is we are really just trying to break his shield and just wait what's happening. As you can see, we are just getting the minions here. I'm using 1 potion. And now this is the time where Qiyana is really strong, and you have to trust your ability to win against this Yas in the 1v1. And Qiyana has a lot more burst, so if you actually go down equally, it's much easier for you to actually kill him here. So I dodge his Q right here, as you can see. I don't get hit by his Q. Then I get his shield off with my Q, and then I use my ice Q to get to dodge his Q. And now I know that he will die here. Think about it, guys. Can Yas one-shot you right now? No, he can't. But you can one-shot the Yas if you would 1 or 2 more auto attacks here. And people really underestimate this with Qiyana, right? Like, her early game is extremely strong, especially if you have Ignite. So what I'm doing is I'm actually early igniting him here after he jumps in right here. So I auto attack, Ignite, auto attack him, I proc Electro, and now it's like pretty easy to just EQ. And look how long I'm waiting to EQ. So as you can see, I could have EQ'd much earlier, but then my next W would not be up, and you want to kill enemies instant. You want them to actually get to a low HP amount, and then you want to use all your abilities. So I EQ, I auto attack, and then I use my WQ at the right time, and there is nothing he can do about it. And people really underestimate how broken Qiyana is in that sense. And now I want to show you another example where this is done perfectly. Alright guys, in this game, look at this lobby, by the way. I have a challenger player in here, my Asia is actually Grandmaster. Like, this is a full GM lobby, basically. And I managed to actually kill this Asia. I ended up in a bad wave state after it, but I still just want to show you that this is actually possible. Even against players that are at the second highest rank in the entire game. So look what I'm doing here. This is very important. As I said, you want to set up the wave properly. I'm standing behind here because I only want to get the XP. Against Asia, if the Asia is good, there is no way you ever walk up because you will never ever get the gold for these minions. So with Qiyana, you always have to take that decision whether or not you want to get the XP or the gold, right? And you cannot have both. Like, getting the gold is good, but if you lose half your HP for it, it's really bad, and you don't want to do that. You really want to sacrifice the gold for the XP. And this is really important. And as you can see, this is exactly what I'm doing. And now I realize that Asia walks up a little bit too close. So I can use one auto attack here. And look how much my auto attack did, by the way. And it's important that I run back immediately, because my minions actually start hitting the Asia, as you can see, because he started hitting me. So this trade is just super favorable for me. Look at that. This trade is super good. And as you can see, I'm running a very specific setup here with Conqueror and with Ultimate Hunter, simply because I really like Conqueror for those early all-ins. And against Asia, that is something you can do easily. It's the same thing against Victor or for example, against Orianna, right? So as you can see, I'm really just chilling, standing back here, not really doing much. I'm playing this super slow, doing nothing, just pinging that Asia actually placed the ward. And now we are really just sitting back. We are taking it extremely slow, sitting back. And I tried to predict his Q here, but it didn't really work out. We can throw one Q here. And now we basically just wait for the wave to come into us. So my Skarner gets a really nice gank off, and this is quite important for me, because now I know that Asia doesn't have an E. And since he doesn't have E, it's really easy for me to engage him. So what I'm doing is I'm heavily trying to get my level 3. I hit a nice little ice Q onto the Asia here. And as you can see, the wave is permanently on my side of the map. The wave is permanently pushing into me. And Asia is doing a great job of getting a slow push in. And now it's really just about getting the cannon, and after that I don't really care about how many minions I lose. So I'm trying to jump the Asia here. I walk back, I Q him, and I grab W immediately. Sadly, I even missed my Q, but look at the damage here from Conqueror. I just auto-tag this guy down, then I Q him, and then I ignite Q auto-flash him. And he dies, and I actually survive it, look at that. And I missed my initial grass Q, guys. Look at that. He spaced my Q perfectly. Look at that. He didn't get hit. But Qiyana is so broken early on that I still manage to get this much damage on. So I Q him through the minions here. And now I ignite him and then W, and I predicted that he would actually flash, but he didn't do that. So I just flashed right here to predict his flash, and then I used Q auto attack. So I used Q, and then I flashed immediately and I used an auto, right? And this is how it looks. See? And he's dead. First blood against the GM Asia. Guys, I can promise you, if this works against the Grandmaster Asia, I can promise you guys this will work in your games too. And it's much simpler than that, because people will just misstep. They will not respect your level 3 all in. And this is what I'm talking about when it comes to managing the first 3 waves properly according to your matchup. 2 examples right here, guys, and I really hope that this is helpful and that you can use this as well. Don't hit the wave early on. Wait for your level 3. Try to get the wave into a proper state, and then you can easily just all in whenever you want, okay? Trust me, this is the first step to success, and now we actually move on to the next one. Now we are getting to step 2. Now it's actually about extending your lead. As you know, I just killed the Asia, right? And now I want to extend that lead. And you can do that in a really great way by holding the wave here, only last hitting the minions and waiting for the enemy laner to come back into the lane. Because they either have to walk up and then you can E onto the wave and actually trade with them, or if they don't walk up, you just slow push this wave. Slow pushing means that you only last hit, then your next wave comes in, it stacks here because it hits these minions earlier than the enemy wave will, and then you can wait for the next wave after this one that's coming right now. And then you have 2 waves stacked, and if they actually crash under the enemy tower, what will happen is you have a lot of time to roam towards bot, roam towards top, maybe do a jungle fight, whatever. So these are the 2 ways how you can extend your lead. You either freeze the wave and you get the enemy laner to walk up to you, and then you can E onto them, and it's much easier for you to actually get a kill through that with Ice Q, right? Or what you can do is you can freeze the wave, get a slow push going, and then you can extend the lead from then. So let's actually just see what happens here. As you can see, I'm holding the wave, I'm last hitting, and now Asia actually has to walk up to farm. So what do? I see that he walks up to close, I EQ him. As you can see, I immediately EQ him without any hesitation as soon as I see this. And then I grab my W while the Q is already flying. As you can see, all my abilities are casted. And then what I do is I just auto-attack Q him. And that's it. That's it. Even if he trades back, this trade is better for me than it is for Asia. Why? Because I'm Qiyana, I have more burst than Asia has. And look at the damage, by the way. This is nasty. Now we actually get our ult. I WQ the Asia, and now I just ignite him, Skarner comes in, we kill him, and this is how you snowball a lead. And the only reason the Asia died right here is, first of all, Skarner came, of course, like, I get that. But at the same time, this would never work if I wouldn't set up the wave like this, and if I wouldn't make him walk up. And this is just how you get leads in high elo too, and this also works in low elo. Because what would happen if your jungler wouldn't come right there? This was a challenger Skarner, guys, don't get me wrong. Like, you don't have a jungler like that every game. But if you actually don't have a jungler, what happens is Asia is Half-Life. Now he can't walk up anymore. That's a lead. That's a lead that you have right there. You don't need your jungler to come up there. And I set that up myself. So that's the first way how you can actually set up and actually get a lead with Qiyana. Alright guys, here we have another example. I played against the Yawn top lane. And I died early on, but look what I did. I just made the best out of it. I died, but I realized that if I TP right now, I can hold the wave right here, and it's really hard for Yawn to do something about it. So look what actually happens. I'm last hitting the minions here, I'm not doing anything else, I'm only last hitting. As you can see, I'm only hitting the minions that are about to die, I'm not doing anything else. And first of all, Yawn is losing minions here, that's the first thing. And the second thing is that this wave is now actually shoving into me. So take a look at what happens here. I'm queuing the Yawn here because he has to walk up. I try to auto-attack Q him, it doesn't really work out, but I hit another Q. This is already quite a nice chunk. Now I grab my Ice Q. I wait for Yawn to come, I dodge that, and I actually hit another Q right here. Now I skill my E. And now look what happens. He manages to push in the wave. And he just used his W. So what I can easily do with Qiyana, this is a very nice trading combo, guys. You E onto him, then you auto-attack. Then you cancel your auto attack in the mid animation of the auto, and then you use Q. Look how fast I'm doing this. E auto Q. Really, really fast. And now he's Half-Life, and now look what happens. I'm again last hitting the minions. Last second. Look how long I'm waiting. Boop. And I'm waiting again. Look. This is exactly how you have to hit the wave when it comes to slow pushing, right? And now look what I'm doing. This is textbook. This is exactly how you have to slow push a wave. Last second, guys. Every single auto attack is last second. Take a look at this. And now, as soon as Yawn walks up, EQ. he can't do anything against it because he doesn't want to miss the XP, right? And now look what's going on. I just continue doing the same thing over and over and over. Guys, what will happen is I will get level 5 of this next wave. Yawn is still level 4, so I have a temporary level advantage. If Yawn would kill this wave, he would get level 5 as well. But since the wave is so big, it takes him a lot of time, and I have a level advantage that I can use to actually kill him. So now look what happens. Again, I last hit, really slowly. I don't care about anything, I just want to slow push this wave. The bigger the wave, the better it is for me. And we just keep doing this. I even missed a minion here because I really didn't want to auto-attack the minion too early. And we just keep doing that. And now as soon as Yawn walks up, if he walks up too close once, he's going to get obliterated. Like literally, there is nothing he can do about it. And now take a look. I'm showing you this in a very long way because look what happens. He walks up too close, EQ, WQ. And now he's level 4. I have this really big wave coming under his tower. And he is cooked. There is nothing he can do anymore. He even gives me Electrocute proc, which is completely nuts. And this is 270 LP Masters, guys. So now look what happens. Wukong tries to help the Yawn, but I just Q flash him and I try to get out. Sadly, I died to the Wukong here. And to the Janna. I would have actually gotten out, probably. But look what is going on. Yawn misses the entire wave. He is level 4 while I'm about to hit level 6 here. So this death was mega worth it. Mega worth it. And now it's impossible for the Yawn to ever play the game again. He has, I think he has 13 CS, if I saw that correctly. So if we actually go back, you can see he has 13 CS. I'm at 40. And I'm almost like I'm almost 2 full levels up. And this is what a slow push can do to actually extend your lead, right? And this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying extending your lead as Qiyana. This is a very important aspect of Qiyana's gameplay, and this is the second step that you have to follow in order to actually be successful on the champion. And now we will take a look at what you can do as soon as you have a lead with this champ, because now we talked about how you can get the lead, and next up we'll talk about what you do with that lead, right? So let's get into it. Alright guys, and this is actually going to be a very short one. Simply because I want to show you something here. And this is very important. There are moments where it's right to actually flash an opponent to kill them. Because nothing else is really going on the map, nothing else is really up, so there is 100% no problem with flash comboing someone. Now I want you to just imagine that grubs are up and that maybe dragon is up, right? If you flash in right now, and this is step 3, and you kill the Hui, that is terrible. That is absolutely terrible. And I see so many Qiyanas do this in my VOD reviews with them, in my coachings. It's unbelievable. So what you have to do always, guys, you always have to review the games from a micro and a macro perspective. So if you have this is called the micro-macro framework. Shout out in case he ever sees this to Coach Curtis, because he's actually the one that explained this to me first. So first of all, if I flash this way, first of all I have to check the micro lens. So I basically check, did I do the combo in the right way, was everything correct and stuff like that. And after that I will check it from a macro lens. This basically means, was this the right time to do it? So was there anything else I could have done that would have been better from a macro perspective? And if you use it for this case specifically, from a micro perspective, I mean, we can just take a look at it, right? I see that Hui walks up too close. I basically do the combo perfect. Like, this is flawless. There is nothing I can do better. So as you can see, I'm Eing onto the Hui. Then I'm using my Q mid-flash. I ult immediately. Then I auto-attack mid-air, as you can see. And then I WQ backwards. And this is just perfect execution micro-wise. From a macro perspective, is there anything else I could have done? I can't go top to the Herald, I can't go bot to do the Dragon, nothing else is up. This is a perfect play. If Herald is up right now and you do this play, this is terrible. Because Hui can just come back, as soon as she respawns, she can TP back into the lane, and then you don't have R for that fight, and in a 4v4 scenario, if you don't have your R as Qiyana, That is basically like walking into a gunfight without a loaded gun. You will die. Like there's not. I cannot stress this enough, but there is no way this actually works out. So always remember this, and this is step 3. Be careful with your ultimate and use it for the fights that you actually want to get. And the next step is about how you actually get to those fights. So how can you create situations that Qiyana likes? And this means you want to play towards Qiyana's reference points. River fights, jungle fights, dragons, barons. You really want those fights with Qiyana, and now I will actually show you how you can get to this point, okay? So how you can create these situations in order to get those really nice fights after you got a lead, after you stomped your enemy laner. Now we actually get into the nitty gritty of actually getting to the fights and how you can create those scenarios for you. Let's get into it. Guys, the next thing is very big, and that is that people don't play towards Qiyana's reference points. As I already mentioned, what does that even mean? Well, let me put it like this. Let me tell you a story here. If you are a tall guy, you should use that to your advantage because your range is much higher, so you can use that range that you have because you are 6 foot or whatever, to use that in a fight, for example, right? Because that's an advantage that you have. If you relate that to League of Legends champions, what happens is basically that specific champions have specific strengths. For Qiyana, that basically means that her entire identity as a champion is based around skirmishes and teamfights. So you want to skirmish and teamfight. Just like the tall guy wants to use his height for fights, Qiyana wants to use her ultimate for the things that she's good at, for the qualities that she has. And that's basically teamfights and skirmishes. And this is where the next issue comes into play. How do you create those opportunities like with Qiyana? And there are 2 ways how you can do this, and we will cover both ways with examples, of course, so you can see the exact thing that I'm about to explain. Alright guys, I have a very spicy example right here, because in this example you will actually see both ways how you can do what I'm about to explain, how you can create those opportunities for yourself with Qiyana. There are basically 2 ways how you can get into really good fights that are favorable for you. Because just getting into fights, that is not hard. You can get into bad fights very quick, as you know. But the important thing is, how do you get into good fights? So the first thing, guys, as you can see right here, is that you actually sidelane. Sidelining is a skill that's very important on Qiyana and that you need to master. So what you want to do, you want to sidelane down this path. And you will see what happens. And there are 2 things that can happen here. This is a macro concept that is really important for you to know. As you can see, I'm sidelining here. And I kinda expect this K'Sante to respond. So now K'Sante is bot side. And this is just an example. So what I would want to happen here is if the enemy team would be here, for example, or look at this Baron, for example, right? What's happening is if this K'Sante wouldn't have TP, for example, you could literally run Baron now. And since he is later, like he's just way too late, you arrive at the Baron earlier and then you have a 5v4 situation. Same with the Dragon. Same when the enemy team is pushing you down mid, guys. And with Qiyana, you are not a champion that can defend this tower. So you leave your team here to defend this tower. You basically push down bot or you push down top, depending on where top tier 2 tower is or bot tier 2 tower. That is still alive, maybe both are still alive, then it really depends on where the objective is, but this is just getting a bit too complicated. Just generally speaking, you want to be pressuring the tower here or here, and then someone from this spot will reset, I can promise you. So either the mid laner or the top laner will reset. So this means here are 4 guys. 1 guy resets, so only 3 guys are mid. You are just bot lane, and you just pushed in the wave. The enemy mid laner just resetted, and he basically responds to that wave that you just pushed down bot. What now happens is you can just run down mid, and then you as well have a 4v3 situation. This is how you can create numbers advantages, or a 5v4 situation, right? This is how you create numbers advantages with Qiyana. That's the first way, and this is really important to master, and you can get super creative with this. And if nobody would respond, you can just literally crush 2 towers here, or like 1 tower at least, which is 600 gold. Like that is worth it 100%. So there is never something wrong. Like, sidelining is basically always a good way to create those opportunities for you. The next way how we can do this, guys, and it's basically in the same motion, is by pushing out the mid lane wave. So I'm very aggressive with pushing out the wave, as you can see. I'm walking up aggressively here to shove the wave. Why? Because look what happens. Kog'Maw is now responding to that mid lane wave, and we have all the time that we need to actually walk into the enemy jungle and do whatever the hell we want. And look what happens. Kog'Maw is pushing. We see the Lulu actually a bit overextended here. I Q in with grass, then I W forward, which gets me into the E range, and then I ER the Lulu. As you can see, she dies, and look what's going on. Dragon is up pretty soon, as you can see, and now since we made a pick, right here, we are actually able to get the dragon. So that's the other thing. You push in mid lane, and when you push in mid lane, it's really easy for you to walk into the enemy jungle, because the enemy team is actually caught up getting the mid lane wave, and this works best if your team actually helps you to push out mid lane, right? This is especially a high elo concept. I think that sidelining specifically is more effective in lower elo games. So this is just my tip for you. Really get into sidelaning and getting into really nice opportunities for those team fights and numbers advantages and getting top or bot lane tier 2 towers, and that's how you actually get an early lead, get an objective in the mid to late game, right? This is basically how you win games in the end of the day, right? And that is the topic of the next step, actually. How do you win games? Because at the end of the day, it's about exploiting the nexus, right? So how do you exploit the nexus with Qiyana? Let's get into it. Guys, the next one is about closing the game properly, okay? This is the finishing blow that ends the game in the end of the day. In the late game, everything revolves around waves, which means that you need to create opportunities by pushing waves with your team or pushing waves on your own on the side lane, right? Qiyana is a side laner, and that's what you want to be doing most of the time. It will get you into very nice positions, into the enemy territory, this is what I just explained, and it will give you killing opportunities, like I just showed you with the Lulu, right? So we just killed Lulu, and now we can do Dragon. And I want you to change how you think about League a little bit, because it's good that you think about kills and how you can get kills. I just explained how. Side laning into teamfight opportunities, or into invading the enemy jungle, or mid lane prio into invading the jungle and killing opportunities. And let's actually say you got a kill. It goes like this. You get a kill. That kill actually leads to Drakes and Barons. Those actually lead to towers. And the more neutral objectives you get, the more towers you get in the end of the day. And you really have to know that Qiyana is not a good champion at sieging towers, because you can't just walk up to the tower and hit it. Your team has to do that for you. But Qiyana is very good at getting the buffs that makes it easier for your team to get those towers. So what you need to do is you need to create those opportunities like we saw in step 4. And then you need to actually get the objectives and then push for towers. And this is really, really important, because with those objectives, it's actually quite easy for you to get the tower, because you can pressure with Baron and with your team, and that makes it super easy for you to actually get ahead and to end the game in the end of the day. There is no real need for an example here, because to be honest, that is quite self-explanatory. After you got kills, make sure to get objectives and towers, right? So this is actually quite a simple point, but it's not easy to execute. Just because something is simple doesn't mean it's easy. Simple just means it's easy to understand, but executing it properly is still actually quite hard, right? And I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, no bullshitting here. No matter where you currently are, I have this video where I'm climbing every rank from silver to masters. So check it out to see all these concepts that I just explained actually in action, and to actually learn them and get good at them. And if you are interested in Qiyana coaching, I have experience of over 400 Qiyana coachings so far with over 200 clients with great results. So just send me a DM on Discord. You can find the link to my Discord server in the description down below. And if you want, you can also check out my Twitch stream right there. I'm streaming basically every day. And yeah, I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful evening, morning, or whatever time it is in your country currently. And yeah, have a nice one, and check out my Unranked Master series. Peace out. Bye.